It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beauties, and welcome to the Culinary Hotline. Bling! Sing, sing, sing! Oh, we know how much you love cakes on this show. We know it's okay. It's probably the thing you love the most about this show. So we brought along the perfect guest all the way from the famous Tessa's Bakery. Please, let's give a massive and very warm welcome to their head decorator, Alicia Louw!
Thank you.
Alicia, I know every time you walk into the kitchen, everyone applauds. So we just wanted to kind of follow suit. Thank you for being here. Thank you for representing your amazing team. I mean, that's quite a thing. At Tessa's, which is already renowned for these signature bakes and these signature cakes, to be the head decorator there, this has got to be one of the most coveted jobs in baking. How did you find your way into this space?
Well, it kind of found me.
Really?
Yeah, like Des, she kind of found me. So she asked me to come in for an interview and...
Because you're just that good?
Yeah.
And now you've got to deliver. We were talking off air about how bad I am at baking because it feels so precise. Yet when I see people like you do it, it feels like magic, like you're just shooting from the hip, that you're using creative license, but you've got to earn the right. There's got to be a base.
Yeah.
So before we can start decorating, and you're going to blow our minds with some decorating today, we need to start with the base. So what are we making and how can I help?
So today we'll be making a chocolate cake, and then we'll follow with a vanilla buttercream.
Oh, and this is like stock standard. You get this right, you are winning.
Yes.
You're winning in the kitchen. If you've got any questions for Alicia, 0634088863. We'll open those lines. You can drop us a WhatsApp voice note. We'd love to hear from you. And trust me, there is a tome of knowledge here. So if you've got a cake that's flopped, if you've got any questions relating to the bake, let us know. But let's get cracking. People demand cake. Let's feed them. All right, so where do we get started?
So we'll get started with our chocolate cake. So basically what you want to do is you're going to add all your dries together.
Okay.
So we have some flour in this bowl, some cocoa powder you'll add, and then you'll add your sugar.
Nice.
And after that you'll add your salt.
What would we call this cake? I know some from an inside of you, because I know many cakes are very different.
Yeah.
So how would you describe this particular cake and what are we wanting out of it?
Well, this cake, I will call it a chocolate mud cake. So
Chocolate mud cake,
Yeah, it's
okay.
a very moist, and it's a bit dense, but very moist and very like fluffy at the same time. You know, it's everything you want in a cake.
In a cake,
so,
because you do need that. And often, I mean, I somehow have been landed into judging roles in a lot of our baking competitions here, but I've learned that the simplicity is often the key. If you get the base right, if you can get the cake texture right, half the battle is won. It doesn't matter how nice it tastes, if that mouthfeel isn't right, if you haven't got that balance. So I love the fact that we are working from the ground up.
Yeah.
Okay, dry ingredients very liberally mixed together.
You just mix them together. You can maybe just mix them so there's no lumps. You see there's the cocoa powder lumps, so you can just mix them together. In this bowl, I'll be mixing all our wet ingredients together.
Why is it important not to have those lumps? I'm probably sure there's like a simple answer to that, but why don't you want any of the little lumps and things?
Because if you're going to add your dry ingredients, then the lumps will will stay basically, and then you'll see like cocoa pieces in your cake, you know, once it's baked.
Yeah, for sure, and you want that consistency.
Yeah.
And especially from a cake from Tessa's where people are going to judge. There's going to be an expectation.
Definitely, yeah.
Do you find there is a lot of pressure in a kitchen like that? Because I know you guys are doing what you love, but there is an expectation of quality that's on a different level when it comes to
There definitely
Tessa's, yeah?
is an expectation of the quality to be good, like all the time. It must be consistent. You know, if you get that one cake that's not coming out great and you have a complaint about it, you just feel so bad about it, you know? So then we're going to mix all the dry.
Yeah, and I suppose it's the kind of business you get one bake right with the right client, they'll be with you for life. You get it wrong, that one person can tell a million different people. It's such an unforgiving environment. It's like being a hairdresser, as silly as that sounds, but it's when you're dealing with individuals who have high expectations. I certainly get that. I think we've got a voice note that's come through. We'll get our team to load that in a second. And if you do want to ask any questions of Alicia, 0634088863. We're focusing on baking today. So if you've got any of those conundrums, maybe you've had a bit of a fail, and we'll get into that. We're going to be creating this cake throughout the show, so we don't want to rush it. Okay, so now what's gone into the wet ingredients? Coffee.
Yes. Yes, your coffee. That just gives it that extra chocolatey taste, the coffee.
I love it. Suddenly it became a grown-up cake. I absolutely love it. I've picked up some gems already, and we are only just getting started. So we are working on the base of our chocolate cake, and we're going for that mud cake consistency, beautiful, dense, and fluffy at the same time. We love it, and we can work on our buttercream icing as we go. We've got Alicia from Tessa's Bakery here. She is their head decorator, which comes with a lot of esteem and incredible amounts of talent that she's going to show for us today. And now we are adding the wet to the dry. And we'll get into some of your questions in just a moment. Beautiful.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to the Culinary Hotline. Bling! Zing, zing, zing! You got to let it out, eh? At least you just got to let the beast out of the cage. You will. By the end of the show, she's going to be screaming. We're not going to stop her screaming for the rest of today. Well, we are screaming with joy to have Alicia here, representing the incredible Tessa's Bakery in our kitchen. And she is teaching us some cake decorating skills, but we had to start at the base and work our way up. And I've already picked up some absolute gems. I can understand why you're here. It's giving me confidence, which is what you need when you bake, especially when you move into this next phase. So I'm going to repeat. If you've got any questions, 063-408-8863, please drop us a voice note. We've only got Alicia here for this morning, so get those questions in. So our cakes have come out beautifully. We went for chocolate mud cake, so it's got that beautiful dense texture, light and fluffy at the same time, perfect balance. Now we've got to make it look like it's come from the heavens down to earth, okay?
Definitely.
What phase are we in?
So we're going to stack our cake now. So what I have here is the buttercream, and I added some pink colouring to it. And then I mixed it
Don't
through.
look at me like that when you say pink colouring, like you know something special is coming. Just try and guess what kind of a cake we're making. The pink is a big, big
And then you're
clue,
going to take your
okay?
first layer. You're going to put it on. And then with the same buttercream, I made some salted caramel filling. So I added some caramel to my buttercream. That's what I love about vanilla. You can add anything to it, and you can make it any flavor. So that's why I gave it.
Yeah. And I noticed when you flip that, you put the slightly round top edge underneath.
Yeah.
So you've got two very clear, flat surfaces engaging with each other.
Yeah.
This is like masonry as much as it's like baking. So it sounds like we've got a voice note coming through right now. Let's take a listen.
Hi, it's Timbisa here. How do I prevent my cake is always dry, so how do I prevent that?
Oh, Timbisa's saying, my cake is always dry. How do I prevent that? He sounds gutted. I'm sorry, I've been there. I know what it's like. How do we ensure that our cake is moist? I mean, this looks absolutely exquisitely moist. I know we went for a slightly denser mixture, but how do you ensure a cake has that content, that moisture content?
Well, I think Timbisa has to do some troubleshooting. So he's either baking his cake too long in the oven at a high temperature, or even he needs to maybe add some more oil to his recipe. Even some buttermilk could help to make his cake more moist.
Moist,
and,
okay. Yeah, I'd actually start with that. I like the notion of fortifying the cake with a bit of buttermilk. Troubleshoot, experiment just a little bit. I know you might end up with like 9 different cakes. Maybe try with some cupcakes first. But I think the key here is when you're learning to bake, you've got to learn. You can't just start at number 99. You've got to go through the process. You've got to bake the flops to be able to understand, okay, I pushed it too far, maybe didn't use enough. You're quite aggressive with your just let it out. I'm surprised we haven't had a ting, ting, ting from you yet, because you are all about that aggression when you bake.
So basically, you put a lot of icing on top and you work it all the way down and all around the cake.
This really is masonry. You've obviously got a gift. Were you born with really stable hands? Have you learned how to do this? Can I learn how to do this?
I think you definitely can. If you want to learn, you'll find a way to learn.
Can I give it a shot?
Definitely.
I mean, this is presumably not going straight onto Tessa's floor. Can I just scoop it like this?
Yeah, scoop.
And then just turn like so.
Yeah, go down.
Ooh, I feel like I should be going this way. Play with what you got. Don't laugh at me when I'm just getting going. Oh,
you're doing it perfectly.
Well, not so much. I'll just... And, I mean, you can be quite heavy-handed, huh?
Yeah, because you will take your scraper afterwards and you will just
and then you'll
smooth it over, yes. And most of that icing will come off the cake. So you don't have to worry about putting too much icing on the cake.
Okay, I like that. Every baker's just gone, thank you. Thank you, thank you. I love that. Sure, and these are quite strong flavors. I'm going to hand back to you to Speedily. I can see.
Okay.
I can feel your A-type personality kicking in. Like, oh, please, let me just take over and do this. And I suppose it's worth not rushing because you're putting so much effort into that. Okay, that's cool. Actually, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Thank you very much for saying that. Normally in the kitchen, I don't get much positive reinforcement. It's little movements. I like that, and you really are getting out there. How do you know? Because you've got to trust your gut with these sorts of things. When you're combining very sweet flavors, there's a lot going on here. How do you approach that? Is there a mindset going into it? Do you have you learned to just gauge? Is there a rule book that you follow? Like, don't have 3 different kinds of tasting icings? How do you approach a cake that has so many different kind of touch points and flavors? How do you ensure that you're not overdoing it?
Well, obviously, when you're making something, you don't want to make it too sweet, so you obviously balance out those flavors. So with salted caramel, the buttercream that I made isn't too sweet because I know I was going to add caramel in it. You know, things like that. Even the icing, you know, you need to balance it out.
Yeah.
So
okay, look, and I know I would love to learn to do something like this, but watching you employ a skill that is clearly so practiced. Can you draw a perfect circle? You know, they say people who can draw a perfect circle are crazy in the head, eh?
I actually can't draw it to save my life.
Oh, get out of here.
I can't.
That's so funny, because my next question was going to be, are you a scientist or are you an artist? What do you feel the skill set is that you employ when you are creating with this such level of precision?
I don't know, I feel like to me everything is abstract. So just putting things together, being creative, things like that.
You're a mad genius. That's what you are. You're a mad genius. I absolutely love it. I can feel the compound knowledge here, that it's not just you. It's not just your gut feel and intuition. And obviously you've got a natural kind of flair and talent for this. But to be able to plug into the knowledge base of like a Tessa's, of this brains trust that has been carrying this culinary information through generations, what is that like? How much have you learnt working in that bakery?
Wow, I've learned so much because when I started off at Tessa's, I basically have just been doing cakes from home. So everything I learned at Tessa's, basically.
And I hope the home bakers, we've got the most talented home bakers on the planet watching our show. I know this from the competitions that we have. Like, it's all professional level stuff. That's how quickly, that's the step that you can take from being a home baker to working in one of the best baking establishments literally in the country, one of the most well-established. You just got to have the guts to put yourself out there and hopefully a mentor to guide you through the process. Okay, so we're going to add even more pink. Again, another clue as to what theme this cake is going to be. What are we going to move on to next?
So we're going to make some geo hearts, some decorations, some geo hearts, some slabs and some spheres. So what you're going to do is just your chocolate melted.
Okay.
So any candy melts, any chocolate, and then you're going to add some powder. So why you want to add powder is because the powder mixes nicely into it.
Oh.
Whereas gel will make those speckles in and the color won't fully
And we're
come
going
out.
for this particular kind of pink. You will understand why we are going for this particular kind of pink in just a moment. We're going to add geometry, some dimensions to our exquisitely crafted cake. The bake continues on the Culinary Hotline. Bling! Ding, ding, ding! Almost there. She's almost there.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beauties. Alicia Louw, head decorator from Tessa's Bakery, has been giving us a masterclass, some top baker tips on how to create beautiful cakes. And she is here for one last installment of the Culinary Hotline. But, okay, none of us are allowed to give a ting, ting, ting. Only Alicia is, okay? It's time to earn your stripes. I'm pushing you out of your comfort zone. Welcome. None of you say a word. No one. Welcome to the Culinary Hotline. Bling!
Ding, ding, ding!
Yeah! I love it. Love it. That was 25 years of pent-up frustration just coming out. Oh, no, she's the sweetest human being. I don't think she's got frustration or pent-up aggression in her, as is displayed by our beautiful cake. It is exquisite. Even just the icing here is a showstopper. Now we're going to decorate and add some geometry, some depth, and, of course, the theme of our cake becomes very, very clear. Yes, it is a Barbie cake. Oh, my word. This is massive. Okay, so no pressure. This has got to stand up to the brand.
Yeah.
How do we put the finishing touches on our gorgeous creation?
Okay, so
And you can hear, sorry, we are being blessed by the heavens right now. So this is quite an auspicious occasion. You can hear the rain falling just to mark. Oh, love it.
So I made some chocolate slabs, and I made some geodes, and I made some spheres also. So the spheres, you just melt the ends and you put them
And you stick
together.
them together.
Yeah.
Oh, like
Look like
gorgeous
this.
little pearls. Okay.
What?
Or giant pearls.
Okay.
Oh, beautiful.
So what we're going to do, we're going to start with our cake now. So I'll just turn it around. So now and then.
And this is great. So, like, what I like about this, if you're going to use graphics, don't let the graphic do all the work. You've got to still be creative in terms of how you add. I keep using the word geometry for lack of a better understanding, but it needs to come to life. This is where the theatre kind of kicks in. So great pictures are wonderful, but you want to let your skill set come to bear here. And this is where the artistry comes out.
Definitely.
Oh, the macaroons. And again, all of this feeds into the same kind of flavor notion. It's nothing too powerful, too strong. I think the buttercream, the white chocolate, the salted caramel, they kind of have an intensity that I think is going to be beautifully counterbalanced by the chocolate, that deeper, darker chocolate.
So I'm just taking a star nozzle, a closed star nozzle, and I'm just doing some piping on it.
Just some little boop boys. Do you go into something like this with a plan? Like, will you go as far as drawing out a decorative idea or plan for the cake? Again, you're going to just tell me, no, I just pick it up and I go. Like, how do you approach this part of the process? Because, again, it needs to be balanced.
Yeah, I would do, like, maybe a rough drawing, you know, just... I'm not a drawer, like I said before.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'll just do a rough drawing, and also I will also look at different pictures of different cakes, maybe of the same theme, and just maybe take something.
See what works and what does. Yeah. That being said, where do you get your inspo from? Is it Insta? Do you go onto TikTok? Do you go onto Pinterest? Where do you find your kind of creative
Anything. Google, Pinterest, Instagram, you know, it's just a whole bunch of social media platforms that we look at also.
I love it. So we're going to gradually turn this around so people can get just a little sneak peek. With the sticking of objects on and things like that, I notice you're not doing anything other than just kind of placing them on. Will the icing have enough kind of tactile, whatever that word is?
Definitely. So if your icing is a bit soft, everything can stick. But if not, if your cake is like really hard, cold, you can just take some icing.
And just a little bit of, like a little cement. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Sorry, now I've jinxed us, of course. That's coming out.
Yeah. Usually what you would also want to do is, if you're sticking a sphere on or something, you'd want to put a toothpick through it.
Okay,
so
give it that little bit of extra support there.
Yeah.
Exquisite. Almost like, I want to reveal it, but I don't want to reveal it because it's beautiful. Okay, well, let's squeeze in a voice note while you lay the finishing touches here. Let's hear from this viewer.
Good morning, Expresso show. Val here. Please, Alicia, your cakes look absolutely beautiful. I wish I could decorate like that. I please just need you to tell me what size baking tins you use to bake your cakes. Thank you.
Val, thank you so much. Great question. Do you have a go-to? Is it kind of done to spec? Do you have a particular size that works well for you?
Well, I usually, like, this is a 6-inch, so I usually either make 6-inch or 8-inch cakes.
Okay.
And that is also nice for 2 tiers. Your 8-inch, your bottom tier, and then your top tier, your 6-inch.
6-inch. Okay, so you've got a bit of differentiation.
Yeah.
And then you also, because I mean, it's a lot of surface area. I understand for a party if you need a big themed cake, I get that. But generally, you want the impact here to be not the size, but rather the detail. And now, a little magical unicorn with a fairy on its back has ridden through our studio, and now we add our fairy dust. Oh, exquisite. How many Barbie cakes have you made this year?
During the past 2 weeks, I could easily say I made about 8.
8.
Yeah, since the Barbie movie came out.
I was going to say, I have a feeling this is probably going to be the
Maybe
most...
even more, because I'm not precise on the count, but I
for
made
sure.
a couple.
I love it. So you've got to be able to stick to themes. Is there a particular cake that you've enjoyed making the most, like a character or theme-driven cake? What have you loved embracing the most?
Well, I think cake-wise, I think it would be the vintage cakes. You know, the cakes with all the piping. You know, that's a lot of. You learn a lot. You know.
Because that's nuanced skill.
Yeah, and even a cartoon comic cake. Those cakes also.
Oh, I love that. You've got to learn so much about people through this process because that's ultimately what this speaks to, is the people. Spectacular. Can we get a round of applause for our Barbie cake? And Alicia, you fly so under the radar for someone who has such an incredible natural gift for this. I know that you're honing that skill, but obviously you've got that spark. This is absolutely exquisite. We've got 3 cupcakes just to like further intensify just how amazing you are. And I love that maybe this is a way, if you're going to be kind of hosting a party, don't go for just one massive cake. Have a showstopper element, but then little individual pieces around that. You can build a showstopper exactly like that. Amazing. I have a feeling that we are seeing kind of the emergence. You've only really gotten started. I have a feeling we're going to see the best definitely still to come. For someone specifically a woman wanting to take this step and commercialize their baking talent, what advice have you been given that's really worked? The mentoring that you've received at Tessa's, what's kind of been that click for you? What advice would you love to give another young female baker wanting to make their mark?
Well, I would just say always be teachable. Like, even if you get criticism and all of that, just take it and...
Eat it up.
Eat it up, use it to become better. That's all I would say. That's what I did, you know. I came in there, you know, I didn't know anything, you know, I was a bit lost, and every little advice everybody gave me, I used it, and look how far I've come.
Oh, completely. Look how far you've come. This has been incredible. I'm going to not make you do it on your own this time. We're all going to do it because we've created something really special. 1% me, okay? 99% Alicia, but it was collective. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings to a close an incredible culinary hotline. Bling! Ding, ding, ding! Booyah!